You're listening to the Business Communicators.
Joining us now on the Business Communicators is Emmanuel Sanders, a Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler, and a 10-year NFL veteran, most recently with the New Orleans Saints. And outside of football, Emmanuel is a successful entrepreneur behind the brand FanGauge, which is really, really innovating the way that fans can interact with celebrities and athletes. And it's blown up since 2020 and the onset of COVID-19. And Emmanuel is actually joining us on behalf of TRU RED and their Expert Note-Taking Collection line and new rollerball pens, which are available at Staples Online. Emmanuel, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I do want to touch on football really quickly. And when we look back at your high school career, you were a two-star recruit out of high school, and you had offers from SMU, my alma mater, Baylor, Houston, TCU, and Kansas. And you ultimately signed with Coach Bennett at SMU and worked your way to become, a third-round pick in the NFL. And when we look at the numbers from the NFLPA, it says that the average career for an NFL player is 3.3 years. And you've made it a decade playing with 4 different teams. I think it takes a strong work ethic to have that much longevity. What have you learned about yourself since you came out of Belleville High School and, working your way to become Super Bowl champion and two-time Pro Bowler?
I think resilience come to mind. A lot of people would assume that, the road is fairly easy or I'm gifted or talented. And yeah, it might be those things, but I think a lot of times it's just about the will and the want to. I've failed so many times in my life, but I just picked myself back up extremely fast and just kept moving on and kept chugging on and still believed that the plan for me was real. And, over and over, that dates all the way back to high school, to junior high, to college. I've overcome every obstacle that's been put in my way. And I just feel like that right there is a recipe for me.
I think that's absolutely awesome. And I'm a huge fan of taking notes on pen and paper. And so that's why I was kind of intrigued about your TRU RED and your journaling that I was reading about. And yesterday or 2 days ago, I was watching a TikTok where you're motivating high school students about practicing excellence and not practicing mediocre or practicing the wrong techniques. How do you use journaling and pen and paper or just planning to set your goals and to reach those goals?
Yeah, I think it's important. So in college, I was one of those. I was extremely motivated because I grew up, in a low income family, and so once I made it to college and I set my mind that I was gonna make it to the NFL, I was one step away. I said, you know what, like I'm almost there, and so and this goes beyond even journalism, but I also did journalism as well. It's just to show what I'm about. I used to put pictures of my house that I wanted, the cars that I wanted. I used to put quotes on my mirror, all right, in my bathroom, because I knew that every morning before I brushed my teeth, that'll remind me exactly why I'm doing it for. And that was me in college. And then I got to the NFL, and that's when I started journalism. I remember, just writing down everything that I wanted and always going back to my notes and just to remind myself why I'm doing it. Because sometimes when you're so caught up in doing it, you forget why you're doing it, right? And so I go back and I reflect back on the times of I wrote stuff where I was feeling down and out or I was feeling good, and just reminding myself about the process and how far I've come, because sometimes we forget that because every day is distractions. Every day somebody's throwing something at you from the moment that you wake up. And so I think it's extremely important to write down your goals, write down what you're thinking, write down what you want to attain, not only just goals in general, just from a mental health standpoint. If you see a quote that you like, write it down, right? I like the fact to take a picture, but a majority of the time you're not going to go back through those photos. You're not going to strum back through those photos. But that journal, you'll take that journal on a plane and you'll just go back, and some of the stuff that you write in the journal, you laugh about, and then some of the stuff you like, dang, that day, man, I was on point. I was on point with all of this. And so I think it's extremely important just for human. I think just the advance of just humans in general. I think it's just huge to write it down. And you got to also remember, at some point, we're all not going to be on this earth. And if you can leave back a journal for your kids and stuff like that, that stuff lasts forever. And so I think it's extremely important.
That's really cool, because the way you talk about it, I was also envisioning it that you're doing, it's almost like it was your vision board.
Yeah.
You were creating the future that you wanted by
Manifest.
making it visually, putting it right there. Why most people will take their journals and things, and then they'll turn it into a autobiography. Do you have any plans to do something like that with using your journal?
You know, I was watching one of my teammates, and he just dropped a book. And then last night I was watching Michelle Obama on YouTube, and I was watching her interview about her book, and I was like, man, like that would be pretty cool to write a book someday. And I think that at some point I will. I haven't reached that point because I'm so locked in on football right now that I just don't have time, because I'm a big believer in making sure you spread your eggs in the right form in order to attain certain stuff. You put too much on the table, then you're just out of whack. And so I think at some point I would like to write a book just to leave back my legacy, because that's something, again, that's on this earth that will forever be on this earth. And somebody wanted to read my book. And so I definitely have to do that at some point.
How many journals do you have altogether?
Oh man.
Just curious.
I probably accounted for at least probably 13.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But what you talk about sounds so inspiring, and regardless of what you do with the content from the journals, there are so many kids out there who look to you for inspiration. I was looking on your foundation page, and it is just, I admire what you're doing with that foundation. I also have a nonprofit background working with the United Way, and we used to do what was called NFL Hometown Huddle. And I don't know if you were ever participating in that kind of thing, but it was really nice to see how players give back to communities, interacting with children, and even if it's seniors and adults. But it was just so heartwarming because it was just a genuine connection that you guys make. And so it's really nice to see that you're doing that, giving back.
Thank you.
Kind of on the note of, your time, I think it's amazing to see what you're doing as a NFL athlete, competing at such a high level, and also your time with FanGauge. And I know you're using the TRU RED right now in their expert note-taking collection. Do you, when you're trying to balance your time between the NFL, running your business, and then even last week you were on the NFL Network and Fox Sports ahead of the NFC Championship game, are there any tips or tricks that you have when it comes to taking notes and journaling just to stay on top of your incredibly busy schedule?
I mean, for me, like, one thing that I've been doing for TRU RED, because right now I'm in the off season, and I really just got the TRU RED journals. And so if I open up this journal, a lot of stuff that I've been doing is just the past, 2 weeks in which I got it. And so it's really been based off for me, like, family. So if I go in here, I'm really talking about just parenting stuff. I got a 6-year-old son, and we're starting basketball now. So I've been doing a lot of Google work in terms of like how to coach, how to approach basketball. So I got all this off in my TRU RED. And then in one section of it, I got just how to go about coaching to make sure that he's locked in every day that we work out, every day that we prepare. And every night I lay in bed, my wife be like, "You really like this TRU RED journal?" I said, "Yeah, I love it because it's a hardcover. All my other journals that I have is just pretty much notebooks, and those notebooks, when they have the little metal thing that come, like those things rip off. So if I show you some of my old journals, they're just tore up, and this feels like it's gonna have longevity, and so." That's what I've really been doing. And as far as FanGauge, as of right now, I got a little. We just signed a deal with the NFL with the Super Bowl, so I got a couple notes off in here just about how we can approach it, and it's a couple things that we want to do in terms of possibly going public and stuff like that. And so definitely just been jotting those ideas and just reflecting back on them all the time. Like this morning I woke up, was getting ready to work on my son, and I wrote some down, and I went back and I looked at it, and I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. then I go to the mental standpoint. And I say, okay, this is how I'm going to approach him today, because with different kids and different people, like, you have to coach them different. And that's what I'm learning. And trying to coach your son and you're his dad, I don't care. Like, I've played in so many basketball games. I got Super Bowls. I've played in 3 Super Bowls. I got all these accolades. When it comes to me, my son doesn't think I've done anything, right? I don't know anything, and I haven't done anything. So I have a mental approach in which I got to coach him, and I keep it in my true red.
That's awesome. I love how
So
you're
are
saying
you a harder coach or a softer coach on your son? You know, that coach's kid mentality.
You know, and I'm trying to figure him out. And so, you know, some days I put him through certain tests, and I even got it in my True Red journal. Test him out every now and then just to see, because you can't be soft on him, because what I've learned in this sport is that the world and the people that you're going against is not going to be soft on you. So therefore, I got to prepare you for everything, right? And so it's a little project. It's fun, but I tell you what, the True Red has been keeping me on point with it.
Does your son watch you as you're journaling, and do you think he'll take an interest in it? Does he like to write? What are you observing?
So when I had signed the deal with True Red, they sent me like 5 journals, and my son saw me writing in my journal, and he said, "I want one." And so I said, "You want one?" I said, "Okay." So I sat down, and this was probably like 2 months ago. I wrote down like 10 things that I want him to do while I'm at work. And the first one was obviously brush your teeth, and then the last one was pray at night. And I got home, and he had his journal, and he was so excited. The fact that I put little boxes that he can check off and sign that he did it. He was just excited. And so that's what we do with the True Reds now. Every night while I write in mine, I write down what I want him to do. And then he goes through and every day, clean your room, make your bed, and he check it off. He's checking it off. And so I'm just trying to be consistent with him to the point that, like, it becomes second nature.
Yes.
And it's just creative ways for me to try to, you know, be the best parent I could possibly be.
That's outstanding.
Yeah,
Outstanding.
I absolutely love that. You're focused on, you know, your career, not only on the field, but off the field, you know, really focus on the family, you know, taking notes and just really creating a legacy. And I think you're doing an amazing job with that, Emmanuel. And we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't also ask you a quick question about the Super Bowl and any predictions. We've got, you know, arguably the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, going against the future GOAT, Patrick Mahomes. Just curious on your end, your take. What happens in the Super Bowl?
Like, Tampa Bay surprised me so much. I did not think that Tampa was going to go as far as they have gone. And I don't want to sleep on them, but Patrick Mahomes is just a beast, and I know how hard it is to repeat the Super Bowl. I'm like 50-50 on both teams, and truthfully, I don't know who to pick, but if I was a bad man, I would have to take the Chiefs just because they got so many crazy weapons. But Tampa's defense has been astounding lately, and just playing just great, solid defense. They've been playing a coverage that nobody has been able to beat yet, and they're playing aggressive, and I love it. And so I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl for sure.
Just hope it's a good game. Hope the commercials are great. And again, we want to thank Emmanuel Sanders for joining us on the Business Communicators podcast. And as mentioned at the top, you can pick up the True Red notebook, their expert notebook collection line, and the new rollerball pens, which are available at Staples online. And you can also check them out online, staples.com/spark to finish. And Emmanuel, for our listeners out there, they want to follow you in your journey during the NFL and beyond. What's the best way for them to connect with you on social media?
I'm on Instagram. It's Emmanuel Sanders. I'm on Facebook as well, and I'm on Twitter. I think it's eSanders_10 on Twitter. So
definitely check them out on social media and pick them up in your fantasy leagues next year. I think that would be a good move. But Emmanuel Sanders, thanks so much for joining us on the Business Communicators.
All right, thank you guys.
You've been listening to the Business Communicators.